So on to our next question. How can I cut costs without compromising the quality of my film?
Okay. Thank you very much for that question. I was expecting it as well.
Yeah.
So you say to cut costs, number one, you need to really look locally. Very important, because there are a lot of things you think you can get out there from the big city.
Yeah.
You can also get locally around your surrounding. For instance, when you talk about contemporary movies or what we call glamour, people want to think of Lekki, people want to think of Abuja, people want to think of big cities like that. But when you go to villages, believe me, you can see mansions.
Yeah, it's true.
Beautiful mansions that nobody lives in. Maybe they come once in a while and all that. You can get such.
That's so true.
Maybe you can take an aerial view of Lekki or a big city. You zoom it into these local places and you can get what you want. Okay. Secondly, you also need to look at your friends who are in the filming industry. You really need to look at them and find out their availability and all that, because I believe when you work with people you know, it makes it a lot easier. Something that may cost you very big amount of money, because of relationship, you may get it a little bit lesser.
I get you.
And it will help. Sometimes also it may be very detrimental, because if you're not working with people who have the same vision with you, definitely you will run into problems. Cutting costs, you look at your environment, your immediate environment or locally, look at the equipment. Sometimes when we look at the standard, take for instance Netflix, if you look at the standard, you will see some cameras like Array, like Red Dragon, like the Beast as in Black Magic, Osa and all that. All those things are very big equipment and very expensive.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you look at the project you have at hand and you want to film to a certain standard, you want to use this big equipment, sometimes you will see your project not coming to life. What I always advise is this: all those big equipments you look at our Nigerian factor as well. For instance, we have the latest Black Magic Osa, which shoots at 12K. Okay, there are some cameras that shoot on 8K. There are some cameras that shoot on 4K. Now, if you're targeting to shoot your film with 12K camera, maybe like Array, like Red Dragon, like the latest Black Magic and all that, when you look at that, how many editors can edit a movie on 12K? Key questions you need to ask yourself. So why not narrow it down? If you narrow it down, you can get some mobile phone gears that can help you achieve a very good picture quality and sound. And that's what is mostly needed.
Would not be too financially
demanding. Exactly. The only thing is get a very good editor. Most of the films you're watching, even on YouTube, on social media platforms and all that, most of them are shot with just mobile phones. Consider using smaller gears like mobile phone gears that will give you exactly what the big ones will give you.
So thank you, sir, for that insight into how to cut costs without compromising the quality of our film, because quality is key.
Sure.
No matter what you do in any business, it's better to keep up with the quality and possibly maybe just reduce the quantity. But the quality, no, we don't tamper with it. You can reduce the quantity of the films you want to produce, but make sure, even if it's one that you're producing, let it have the what? Quality. How do you choose or develop a script that resonates with the audience? Like we that watches these movies, how do you choose these movies that we can feel, we can connect with?
Exactly. Theater, they have this their motto, mirroring the society.
Okay.
So whatever we are seeing on movies and all that have one element of truth in it, that is what is happening inside the world we live today.
Okay.
So apart from science fiction, you want to create a story. One thing that comes to mind, what type of story do you want to create? Is it the type of story that will select audience?
Okay.
Is it the type of story that will be universal? When you get the concept, the next thing is to begin to develop the story. But I will always advise, let it be universal so that you will have unlimited audience.
Okay, that's cool. So our next question is, what role does a script supervisor play? And is it essential, like is it important in every production?
When I started acting, I also learned the skill of script supervisor. So we call it here, some people call it here, continuity writer.
Yeah.
Continuity. It's very, very important. You cannot do without script supervisor in a production, especially when a story is complex. Take for instance, somebody is going to work and the person leaves his house. Now, the house, remember, is not the office.
Okay.
Now, the actor leaves, or the character leaves the house to the office. When he gets to the office, you wouldn't want to see him in a different costume, a different makeup, and all that. Because he just left the house to the office, and there is no way in the script that we are told he ran somewhere or it is another day and all that. So this is very important because it is the script supervisor who will note the continuity.
Okay.
This, how the connection from one scene to the other, and what the actor is wearing, the time and all that. All these things are very, very important. Not only that, it is only the director and the script supervisor who can cut the camera when it, who can say cut when it is running. Sometimes you make mistakes.
Of course.
So the script supervisor notes when an actor makes a mistake, and it's either he communicates immediately to the director to cut the camera and have a retake, or he himself, it is very crucial, points it out and cut the camera. So it is very important. You can't do without the script supervisor.
Okay, that's nice. So our next question is, how do you communicate your vision with the cast and crew during filming? You know, when you're writing the script, obviously it's your script.
Sure.
It's in your head.
Yes. Nobody
Nobody thought about the script with you. You did it all alone. So now when you bring in these crew members, your cast and all that, how do you communicate this script to them to enable them feel what you're feeling, like to understand what you're really going for?
Exactly. That's what we call character interpretation.
Okay.
So when we give the script, first of all, when you're ready for your production and you begin to think of the cast and crew, you send out the script to them.
Okay.
Once you have made your schedules, you send out the script to them. They will read, go through it. Because you wrote the story, or somebody wrote the story, and you know the story, you know what, as a producer, you know what you're producing. So questions are bound to come.
Okay.
People will ask questions for clarifications. So when these questions come, most times it revolves around the characterization. Who is this character? For instance, you're playing a house girl. Not every house girl is the same. Not every house girl plays have the same character, or lives the same style of life. Who is this particular house girl in this your story? What do you have in mind? So such questions will come. You need to break down the characterization for these particular actors. And sometimes when you read from the beginning to the end, you also understand the type of person or the type of character that house girl is. Another thing is, some productions have issues just because here in Nigeria, because of money or independent producers, they don't really give every character the full script.
Okay.
Here, we give full scripts to mainly the major characters in that particular story. But for without the minor characters, the production will not be complete.
Exactly.
So when you give a minor character maybe 2 pages, just 2 pages or 3 pages of a script, that's just the scenes he or she is involved in, and she reads it, she has not gotten the full concept of the story. She may make various mistakes. So, but through questions, she will get it clearer. And even without asking, you as the producer or the director or the artistic director is supposed to break that character down for that particular person who is playing it in order to interpret that particular role very well.
Thank you, sir. So we're going to our last question for the day.
Okay.
So this is our last question for the day because we're going to come back on this some other time. I know you've learned a lot. Just click on the subscribe button and subscribe now so you can enjoy it. So our last question for the day, sir, is